Diana, a quick question here. When you send us the bill, it's so much on the bill for every perf rating that we have renewed, right?
Yes, for every certificate that's issued in 2021, whether renewed or issued, that's what you're billed for next February.
Now, this is a quick question. There's some boats that say, I want a certificate, renew it, and you never see them all year. We have to pay for that?
Yeah, we're going to bill you for it.
Oh, that's what I wanted to know, because I won't just go and renew it. If the guy never shows up, I'm going to say, if you don't show up, I'm not renewing it.
Well, either that, or you collect his money and pay us.
Yeah, usually the club pays, so.
Oh, well, every club does it differently, and I can't tell you how to do it because every club I know does it a little bit different. Some include it in the racing fee. Some have it as a chit. Some people just collect cash from the owners. Yes. It's every club is different.
So I don't know. We give the cash to the club and the club pays you. We don't send it to you, correct?
Correct.
If you've already processed it and that club or that owner is no longer in the club, so let's say he transfers from the club, how did you delete it from my certificates?
Okay, so
the list you've got there at the base of your screen.
When you renew or you edit it, and if you edit it and it's expired, it automatically gets renewed. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you do that, we've processed it. We're assuming you collected the fee for that certificate. Okay. If the owner halfway through moves to another club, you have better get your money because we're going to bill you for it.
Okay, what he was there last year, but he's now this year's moved to another club. So we don't try and renew his certificate. Will that eventually that list be amended so that the invalid certificates are removed?
Yeah, eventually they naturally fall off because we only upload now for 2021. We've uploaded the information for 2018, 19, and 20. Okay. Mm-hmm. Only because of COVID. Normally it's only 2 years. Normally you would only see 19 and 20. That gives you an opportunity if you missed one last year, or the guy for whatever reason didn't race last year but wants to race this year, you can still renew it, right? And it's a volume issue. It's strictly a volume issue on our part and getting all that information up there onto the web, and recalculating all the certificates, etc. It's a huge job. So doing 2 years is a lot. If he was there last year and he had a valid certificate, just don't renew it. There's two things that can happen. As I told you before, maybe with the new club he goes to says, okay, you know what, Mr. Smith used to be at your club, is now coming to my club. There he is, Mr. Colin Smith, Alexandra. I want him now moved to my club. Mm-hmm. He can do that by doing certificate query, finding.
Just change it there under member ID.
Yeah,
there's the club right there.
Club. There's a little button says "Bring to my club."
Yes.
It's going to take that guy, that certificate, and shift it over into, well, in my case, it would be the non-member unknown club. But if say you guys were switching, okay, now it would go to Collingwood, right? And you would go in and say, bring it to Collingwood, bring it to my club. It's now going to be in your list. You can change it. It's going to be renewed. It's going to be part of Collingwood now.
I can't do that though if the boat comes to the club, but the owner's different.
You can take the whole certificate as it is and bring it to your club, because we have certificates that move back and forth all the time. Mm-hmm. Especially down in Toronto area, RCYC to Alexandra to Ashbridges. They're like, so it was just an easier thing than me moving, because we have to do it. Like it's something we were going to have to do. but he was able to do some coding in there. And
But
I
if
have-
somebody buys a boat, the certificate goes with the person. You can't just bring the boat certificate to your club with a different person's name on that's not a member of your club.
no,
Right?
yeah, no, because remember, certificate belongs to the owner always.
Okay,
Okay, so if you're moving that certificate, you're moving that owner, not the boat.
Diana, I've got one more question from a member that I tried to resist asking, but they
Okay,
insisted. As PHRFLO given any consideration to adjusting handicapping for people who sail solo,
that's sale.
single-handed sailing?
No,
Okay.
I mean, no.
That's fine. It's a
The
dumb
only
question
thing-
because you handicap a boat, not the crew and the number of crew or any of that, but I
like
tried to
they-
explain that and we'll just ask, you're not an expert. Okay, I'll ask.
No, the only thing they are working on right now is the long distance adjustments.
Okay,
And that's it.
okay,
That's the most current project.
thanks.
Diana, I have a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first one is furling main adjustment. I saw something on that somewhere, but I can't find anything in any documentation from PerfLow. Do we adjust handicaps for furling mains?
No,
Okay. Cruising handicaps, I've seen that as well in other places. Does PerfLow not have cruising handicaps?
no.
Okay. And the last one is when I see oftentimes the standard performance for boats, they'll have something that says next to it, NFS Delta -9 to NFS. And that Delta number of -9 doesn't match up with the difference between the FS and the NFS numbers. So what does it mean when it has that?
I'm assuming the list you're looking at is the most recent change to the NFS Delta.
It's just a table of all the different boats and classes, and it lists the flying sail standard, the SP, the non-flying sail SP, and
Yeah.
then it has this little statement next to it. But
Yeah.
the number oftentimes is not a delta between those two numbers.
Hang on a second. I'm just going to bring something up here because I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just going to show so everybody can see. Okay, so what he's talking about is this little list here. It's not a little list, it's actually a really big list. Okay, so what happened was the NFS Delta is a number that's added to the flying sails number to come up with an NFS SP. It's based on a formula developed by Jim Teeters. When Jim Teeters, when we asked him to do the project way back, there he had there were seven coefficients based on windward, leeward, and different wind speeds, circular round, different wind speeds, and then they had a basic handicap number. When Perf decided to do this, when Perf Lake Ontario decided to use this formula, they went with the basic handicap formula. Over the years, though, and through Owen Schneider doing a wind study on the lake, which I believe I just put up on the website recently, the wind study. It's a very long, involved PowerPoint presentation that he did. It was decided to change the formula and start using the coefficients, and I'm probably talking way over everybody, but you can go online, you can see all the information is in there about these coefficients, what Jim Teeters did, and the decision that they made to start using Windward Leeward 8 and that formula. So what happened was, and that's where this table comes from. So in 2019, it's showing you what the NFS Delta was, okay? Then it's showing you in 2020 what the new number was based on this new coefficient formula, okay? It's just the coefficient. It's just certain numbers that are being used in the formula that come out to a different NFS Delta. So all this is doing is showing you the change. Okay, this has nothing to do with the flying sales number. It's just the change. I've got the right sheet, right, Gavin?
Actually, the one that I was looking at is similar. I'm going to hold it up because that might be easier than trying to find it on my. Can you see that?
Oh, that's the yacht class history report. Oh, that's totally different.
Well, see, if you read to the right side there, you'll see where it says NFS Delta -12 to NFS.
And that's going to match. See, that's actually going to match this. Okay, because that online you will find the class SP history. So basically, it's a list of every class and the rating change that was made in that year.
Okay.
Whether it be the NFS Delta, or it could have been what Central Council changed. It could have been what the district changed. That's what that class SP history report is. This is strictly the NFS Delta. So you could compare this list to that one. It's going to match. It's going to show you the change.
Okay.
Okay, it's going to match identically. So in 2020, I had to make all these changes to each of these classes to the NFS Delta number, and it was based on this exact table. Okay, so that report is a report that's generated from our in-house program, and it all I do is I tell it, give me every change for every class for this period, and I just said that year, and it prints me out a report.
Okay. Great. Thank you. That answered all my questions.
Okay.
Another question, Diana. At the end of the year, we usually, well, we don't always, but the clubs send in their race results.
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken, the races were supposed to be like equal windward, leeward, and whatever.
Yeah.
Correct? What happens if your club never sets a course and never went or races windward, leeward courses?
You should probably note that when you send them in, but still send them in. Just
Okay.
if it doesn't conform 100%, then it's up to Central Council whether or not it's included in the analysis. That's basically what it comes down to.
You know, we haven't set a buoy to race in 15 years. There are navigation buoys that are out there. We go out to them and come back, and that's it. We don't even have committee boats. We take our own time when we come back into the harbor.
We have a lot of clubs, a lot of very small clubs, not just, they do what they can do.
Yeah. Another thing I'd like, I don't know if you're the appropriate person to ask, is to figure out how to do sail wave. That's where they usually come up with all the results, right? Well, we had a program when I did it, it was totally different. Somewhere in the middle, they switched to sail wave. And I think one person in our club has sort of mastered it. But when I say, oh, train me, show me, I never get any training.
Well, you know what? I mean, getting Zoom, the one thing that I've kind of figured out that, Perth Lake, Ontario is so widespread. I mean, from Rochester to Ottawa, we're all like, everybody's all over the place. And getting everybody together, I mean, the AGM's all good and the training session's good. We move it around, but it's not the same when you got to travel and people are left out. You can always make things. And things like Sailwave, I think John Crawley might actually do something like that. And we should probably start considering doing this type of thing for new handicappers that I can do with you, and we can, take it easy and get into questions as well as something with John and doing Sail Wave and things like that. So,
If we have to send your results, we need to put them in the Sail Wave, I'm assuming, right?
yeah, Sail Wave's kind of, well, or your own homemade spreadsheet, but a lot of people don't do that.
We had a program years ago, I don't even know the name, but it was complicated to figure out. So I finally figured it out, and then they say, we're not using it anymore. So
Well, it could have been Quick Score.
could have been, I don't remember the name of it now. That was
Yeah.
back in 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, Quick Score, Dan Hollins isn't supporting it anymore, so he stopped doing it. So the only ones we used were Quick Score and Sail Wave.
Okay, so I'll figure out Sail Wave. Apparently, I tried it a couple of times. I downloaded it, but it wouldn't even come up. I couldn't get it to open.
Yeah, that's not my thing, unfortunately.